Hi, so today I want to do a video on classics versus modern literature. I want to do this because I am doing an essay on this for my A-level course and I'd like maybe some input. So I'm going to do a little discussion thing, hopefully, and get some feedback from you guys, hopefully. Not many of you on there, but hopefully the ones that do watch might tune in with some insightful comments on the subject. So my essay topic is that classic literature such as Jane Eyre and Great Gatsby and Mice and Men, any classics you can think of, are of higher value to us than modern literature that is published today is, and whether that should be the case. Whether things like Great Gatsby should be valued more than things like The Fault in Our Stars. I think my first opinion for modern literature is that it gets kids of nowadays reading. I mean, The Fault in Our Stars, some of my friends have read it who never read, who haven't read in years, but as soon as I recommended The Fault in Our Stars, they were so into it that they wanted to keep reading books, mostly books by John Green, but books anyway. And although they're not into the classics, they are still into books, and whatever gets people reading can't be bad. I mean, people may hate Twilight, but it forged a whole generation of kids that love reading vampire fiction, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it got them reading. Whether they were reading the right kind of thing, they were still reading something. Another opinion for the classics is that a lot of the classics require you to read them with some sort of depth and understanding into the time and the period they were written in and how that reflects upon their writing, but it also offers some insight into today's world. For example, with Great Gatsby, it offers insight on whether or not we can really have it all, whether or not we are like Gatsby and can't have it all in the end of the day, because we're not supposed to, we're not born into the right that we can. Whether that's true in today as it was in Gatsby's age, in the Roaring 20s, and I think that's a good lesson to be learning, a good discussion to be having about what makes people with higher wealth more important and more successful than people with lower wealth, and whether that's actually true. I think there's a lot of value in stuff that's written today, and just because it is from our time, we romanticize the classic era and don't look at the literary value of things that are written today, because while there are a lot of literary geniuses that lived in the classic period, there could be a lot of literary geniuses that live in our time, but we just don't recognize them as classic books. I mean, when does the line start that a book can become a classic? How long does it have to be published before it becomes a classic, and why should we have that line? Why can't there be an instant classic? Why can't books just be classics? Like, I know we are in a time where dystopians are a huge trend, and that's not just been now. I mean, there are a lot of dystopians that are classics, like Fahrenheit 451 in 1984, and that doesn't mean that books like Divergent and The Hunger Games are any less valuable to us as a society to make us discuss than Fahrenheit 51 and 1984. I mean, The Hunger Games offers some insight into what us as humans are capable of, and so does Divergent. I've not read Fahrenheit 451, but I assume it has some questions about the time that it was written in, and whether it's valuable to us as this generation is a different story. And I think that we should continue to value the classics, but also be open to the fact that there could be new classics out there somewhere. And I know this has been a quite boring video with just me talking about classics and modern literature, and I appreciate if you've actually watched the whole thing. And if you do watch the whole thing, please comment below your opinions on this subject, because I really need people to weigh in on this, whether you make video responses or a comment or whatever, I'd really appreciate it. I know I don't get a lot of comments or whatever, and I don't expect a lot. I just a few. So thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.